So my route into professional football probably wasn't the same as a lot of boys who came through the academy system. I signed at Queen's Park Rangers at 15 years old, which is probably quite late in terms of the academy system. I'd spent, from a very young age, I was playing for my borough, my county. I had various trials at different clubs, professional clubs in the area. But I didn't actually sign to QPR till I was 15, which, like I just said, is probably quite late in terms of the academy system. But I think that benefited me the most because I hadn't had that level of elite training and mindset from such a young age, where I think you can get quite sick of doing that every single day leading all the way up to 15, 16. On the other hand, David, he spent from a very young age all the way through at Fulham. So he did it the other way around, where he was in very early and he was used to the academy system from a very young age. Whereas obviously I came in quite late, and that's where our paths crossed age 15 at Queen's Park Rangers. From there, I signed schoolboy forms for the under-16s. I then got my scholarship and my pro. So you spend 2 years in the under-18s as a first-year scholar, then a second-year scholar. You do like a BTEC 1 day a week, but the rest of it is completely football. So it introduces you into that professional full-time environment. It gets you used to the way of doing things and how you need to be, and how you need to live your life. And then from there, obviously, I kicked on from 17 to up till now. I've been a professional footballer, which is great. I've loved every minute of it, but it is tough. It is tough. And I don't think you quite realise when you're a kid you want to be a footballer, but you don't quite realise sometimes the sacrifices, the setbacks, the hard work. But I wouldn't change it for the world. I've been lucky enough to play at lots of different levels and different leagues throughout my career so far. I've played in League One, League Two, the National League South, in the SPL in Scotland, and I've also played international football. My favourite league has been League One. Absolutely loved it. The football suited me, especially the club that I was at. It suited me perfectly, the style of play, and I felt that in League One you're up against players that are experienced players. They're very good players. A lot of them have played at a lot higher level, so every single game is a challenge, and you get up for those games, and they're the games that you want to play when you go into football. League Two, I would say, is very similar to the National League in a sense of it's very physically demanding league. There's probably a little bit less football played on the floor, more in the air, and it's more of a physical battle, especially at centre half. And then National League South is probably a slightly maybe less quality version of the National League, because you have some part-time teams in there who they work in the day and then they train at night, so you don't get the same quality. And it's probably the easiest league I've played in, but it's the league that I got promoted with Torquay, so I look back fondly, and it was a good time. Then you've got the SPL in Scotland, which it's a different culture, but it's a fantastic league. Really enjoyed it up there, and it's the main thing in Scotland is the football, and you get so much coverage of the games. People live and breathe it up there, and it's a fantastic opportunity to go and play and enjoy the big stadiums. You've got Celtic, Rangers, Hearts, Hibs. So it's a very good experience. It's a different culture, it's a different way of doing things day to day, and a different way seeing the game and behaving and probably the banter as well is a different culture up there, but I enjoyed it. Then you've got the international football. I was lucky enough to play quite a few times for Northern Ireland through the youth ranks up to the under-21s. And that is, that's a different kettle of fish from any league that I've ever played in. You're up against some of the best players in the world, and especially Europe, for your age. So these players are playing, first team at leagues all over Europe and the country. So Europe, Belgium, France, Italy, Spain, and it's that football is extremely enjoyable, but very, very tough against some very, very good players. The football style is a lot of passing, a lot of moving. The ball's generally on the floor, and it's like I said, it's been a fantastic experience for me to be able to play at that level and experience that side and that different level that you don't play against every week in the leagues in England from sort of League One down. There are lots of sacrifices that you have to make as a footballer or as a young kid that's wanting to be a footballer and has a dream of having a career as a footballer. I'll start with the sacrifices that I can remember as a kid coming through. At school, there's loads of opportunities to go and do, enjoy yourself with your friends down the park if you want to go, to the park drinking or to parties and girls and whatever it might be. But I remember at school where I'd finish school and everyone would be going off to, go to the park drinking on a Friday, or they go to a party on a Friday. But I went straight home, and I prepared for my game the next day for QPR under 16s at the time. And they're the things that you miss out on when you're young, because you want to enjoy your childhood. You're a kid at the end of the day, and you want to go and have fun, which you can do. There's opportunities to do it, but if you want to have the best chance of being able to be a professional footballer or sign for the academy you want to sign for, or whatever it might be, you need to think about, what are you going to gain from going to that party when you've got a game the next day, or what are you going to gain from going to that party where you miss training on whatever day of the week it might be. So those were the main ones when I was young, was that you miss out on a small part of your childhood. I remember with my school prom, when we finished in year 11, I went to the prom, but I had to leave really early because I had training the next day, because I left school at 16 and went straight into full-time football. I think there was probably a 2-week gap between finishing school and then going back to football, which on a full-time basis. That's another sacrifice that you make, is your education. You do a BTEC when you go into the youth team, but you sacrifice your A levels, you sacrifice your uni studies, which you can do alongside football, but it's a lot of work and it is very tough to do full-time football and full-time study. So that's something that I sacrificed, was my education, leaving school. When you get a bit older and you become professional and you're doing full-time, you sacrifice a lot of time with your family and your loved ones, because you're traveling to games, or you're training, you can't go back and see them. You sacrifice Christmas, all of the holidays that when you're younger you take for granted. When you become a professional and you've got the full season to play, the football doesn't stop over Christmas. In fact, Christmas is probably the busiest schedule of the year. So you a lot of the time I've been training on Christmas Day, and then you have a game on Boxing Day. Easter holidays, you don't get those. You've got a lot of games over the Easter weekend. So that's a sacrifice that you make when you get a little bit older and you have a family, or you still live with your parents or whatever it might be. You can't see them as much as you'd probably want to. So during football, there are lots of setbacks, whether that's being dropped from the team, whether that's being released from a club, whether that's injuries. It's very tough and testing to be able to deal with all those different things that happen, can happen regularly throughout your career. I would say I've probably been quite unlucky in terms of the setbacks that I've had compared to a lot of players, but it's very much part of the game and something that you have to be able to deal with to a certain extent. My ways of doing it were to try and keep a positive mindset as much as possible. With the injuries, I had a few bad injuries so far in my career, and that's probably the hardest one for me, because you're not able to do what you've grown up doing every single day of your life, and you have to rehab in the gym. You've got the hours on your own where you're at home, or you're having to go and do physio, or go to the gym on your own, or do all your rehab on your own. It can get quite lonely. So my advice with the injuries would be to keep a positive mindset, have people around you all the time, people that care, that can help you and keep you busy and keep your mind off the negative thoughts that you might be having. With regards to being released from clubs, I've been released by a few clubs in my career, and it's tough. It's very tough, because you feel that potentially maybe you're not good enough, you're not wanted, but being released from a club is part and parcel of the game. It's a manager's opinion, and football is a game of opinions, and you might not be liked somewhere and get released, and then you might go and get a fantastic contract somewhere else, and that's right the way through. You might leave an academy or a club at age 10, and by age 16, 17, you're at a better club, enjoying your football, and you're on a better contract, or whatever it might be. Things always seem to work out if you have the right mindset and you put the right effort and hard work in. So David and myself set up Prospect Football to help try and bridge the gap between Sunday League and academy and professional football. Since being in the game and coming through the system ourselves, we've noticed that the gap's been gradually getting bigger and bigger. And through our experiences, we've gained knowledge and understanding of the game that we feel that we can pass on to the younger generation to try and help bridge that gap. Having come through the academy system ourselves and going right the way to being professionals, we feel that we have experiences that we can pass on to all of the kids that come on board with us, and the one-to-ones and the academy group sessions that we run. We feel that we can help put across some ideas and information and some understanding of the game that we wish we knew when we were younger, and we feel that will be a big help in trying to bridge that gap that we want to stop from getting too big, and be able to have an easier transition for the kids to go from the Sunday League grassroots football into academy and professional football.